Doom, doom, doom. Yeah, yeah, we can. Oh, no. Oh, hold on. Pause. It, like I do this. That's crazy. I don't know why. Can I make it to D? Hello, Beanie. What's up, man? We doing? Sounds. Oh, one. Okay, that's the only output allowed to be used. Wait, what? My input. There you go. That's the use. Go in here. Let me make sure that this is. Okay, good. Yep. Okay, good. At least that is normal. How we doing? So I want to watch this because I saw it. It's only 8 hours old. It looks interesting. FNAF Into the Pit has a lot of lots of bit. I want to see what they're talking about here. How we doing?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Lost Bits video right here on Tetra Bit Gaming, the series where we explore the unused, altered, and unseen content in gaming. Starting in this video, we are diving into the pit of unused content found in Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And there is a lot to go over in this game. Some might say...
Pause. I realize I am grabbing the wrong screen. That's awesome. That's dumb, but it's awesome. What the heck? Oh, there we go. Okay. That one? Nope, that's the one that I'm alright. That one. That's the one I want. Okay, cool. There we go. Alright, now that my stupidity is over.
May even rival a certain other game in the series in terms of the sheer amount of content that didn't get used. In this first video, we'll be focusing on a whole bunch of graphics that don't go used, as there is a ton of these left over. Like, seriously a lot. Enough to fill up more than an entire video. Also, I have a Steam key for a copy of Into the Pit to give away, so drop a comment saying who your favorite animatronic is, and I'll randomly pick a winner 24 hours after this video goes live.
Email, Discord,
and
Twitter.
with all of that said, smack that like button below for a free hug from a certain yellow rabbit. It's time to hop into the pit and find some lost bits.
Yeah, what do we got? What do we got going on?
Alright, so to kick things off, I think it's very important to go over
how we doing, Beanie?
FNAF Into the Pit was basically completely overhauled over the course of its development, at least visually. And this is for the simple fact that in the second interview with Dawko, according to series creator Scott Cawthon, the game was not only originally going to be made in a 16-bit Super Nintendo style, but that the game was actually also originally once planned to be available on actual physical Super Nintendo carts that would fully function on real hardware too.
It was just supposed to be a little novelty one-off. It's like, oh yeah, here's this little company that makes 16-bit cartridges, and that was immediately appealing to me because I'm all about the Super Nintendo. And so if I could make something that would come on the Super Nintendo cartridge, sign me up.
Huh? Sounds like a good idea. And making their games available on physical carts is part of the developer's shtick that made Into the Pit, Mega Cat Studios. However, the decision was eventually made to move away from the physical cart aspect of this game so more players could play the game on PC and consoles, And don't get me wrong, I definitely get wanting to make the game more accessible, but honestly, I think still having the option of getting this game on Super Nintendo
would be
carts
cool.
would have made for an awesome special edition.
Or if I could
of the
download it
game or
onto
something.
this.
Anyways, all
That
that
would be
to
cool
say
too.
that although the game's direction was moved from essentially being a Super Nintendo game, there are still numerous leftovers that seem to be remnants of this original design left over in the release build of the game, including sprites of backgrounds, objects, and characters too. So yeah, first we got some unused SNES-style sprites for the living room in Oswald's home. There's the background itself, as well as early versions of several set pieces, including the living room sofa, table and chairs, this lamp, as well as a smaller and bigger cabinet.
Oh.
And then similarly, there's an early Super Nintendo version of Oswald's parents' bedroom, as well as this set of objects like the bed, some shelving, and more meant for it. And also similarly, there are some early SNES graphics for Jeff's Pizza, as well as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in the past. For Jeff's Pizza in the game's present, there are early graphics for 2 rooms, Jeff's security room, as well as this hallway that seems to have been scrapped from the game, as there doesn't appear to be an equivalent area in the final cut.
That's the part. What?
But going back,
No,
to
it's just
the
a
early
smaller
security
version of the
office,
hallway that
what
does
makes
exist.
this extra interesting is that it appears to have the exact same layout as the office in FNAF 3.
It does.
Right down to the desk with the fan on the left, the garbage can, single door on the left, vent in the upper section on the left, the window is in a similar spot, and of course, probably the biggest similarity is having a box full of FNAF character masks. Though
that
here,
is
instead
crazy.
of the
That
toy
is creepy.
versions
I
of the
like that
characters
though.
seen in FNAF 3, we got what looks like some clown masks or something. Maybe a reference to Carnival? Although the final design of the security room in the past is kind of similar, the similarities are definitely more noticeable with the present version of the office. In fact, there's a leftover ability to overlay the old version of the office, as the developers used it as a reference when making this new one. By doing so, we can see how things like the box of masks, trash bin, and desk are all basically in the same place. But Jeff's monitors have now replaced the old window.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there's also some sort of mode for the old version of the office where the window would like start to glow or something. It's pretty neat. Then also, for all 3 of these early rooms that I went over, you probably noticed the blank lower third of the sprites, and it's likely that this section of the screen was planned to be reserved for dialogue, or perhaps a heads-up display similar to something like what's seen in the original Legend of Zelda. Then next, also for Jeff's Pizza, is an early version of the present ball pit that's central to this game and its title. And as a nice way to transition to the past version of this building, there are sprites left over for an animation of some kids playing in this same ball pit too. Basically the same as is seen when Oswald first emerges from the pit in the past at the start of the game. Then also for the ball pit room, left over unused in the files is an early version of the Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica mural seen there.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That
here
Freddy
the
is
animatronics
nightmare
look
fuel.
infinitely more creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that's giving me nightmares for sure. And interestingly enough, this mural can be re-implemented into the game too. And in addition to Bonnie being super creepy and purple here, purple, not blue, he can also be seen holding a different style of guitar, his original flying V that he used to be depicted playing in earlier games, instead of the other style guitar that he's been using for the last couple of years now. Now, I'm assuming this change was made since the flying V guitar is made by the Gibson guitar brand. So, much like the other games made over the last few years in the series, in order to avoid any sort of copyright complications, they had to go with the new made-up design. Anyways, next, also for the animatronics, there are several sprites meant for the backstage room, including an early version of Fred Boy himself. There's these shelves with a bunch of animatronic heads of Bonnie, Freddy, and Chica, but interestingly, there are also 2 of the Yellow Rabbit as well. There's this sprite of an Endo 2 with Chica's feet beside it, as well as another pair of Endos with one rocking Chica's head, similar to the one seen in the final version of the backstage. Then another interesting set of early sprites for the pizzeria are for an animation of the Golden Freddy hiding spot, presumably for when the player would enter and exit it. And what I find more interesting about this is that it looks like Golden Freddy was going to be seen standing as opposed to his iconic sitting position that it was changed to in the final cut. And then lastly, for the background objects in the pizzeria, there are sprites for various arcade machines as well as the ticket eater. These early machines look a lot more generic compared to the ones seen in the final version, where they're basically all unique. So this is a change I think was made for the better. Next up, there are early version graphics also thought to be for the Super Nintendo version of other miscellaneous objects, including this Chica toy, where there are animations
that would have been cool
of
to
its
get some
eyes
toys.
shining
The actual toys would have
There's
been cool.
a chunk of cheese, perhaps
Chunk
meant
of
to have
cheese.
been used as
Pizza.
part of
Looks
the
like
rat
pizza.
trap section of the game.
Maybe rat.
And then there's also this blood pressure device, and this is probably related to a scrapped heart rate mechanic in the game. Now, I'll revisit this more when I get around to going over the dev build of the game that was leaked for the Nintendo Switch. But basically, there was a mechanic for when Oswald would hide in the vent where the player would have to move a heart icon up and down to match the heartbeat line that would move across the screen in order to not get detected. Anyways, next, there are early sprites for animations of several of the game's characters. For the animatronics, there's actually only early Super Nintendo sprites for Chica, and these are of her searching under a tablecloth, as well as for her running, two things that I don't believe she's ever seen doing in the final release of the game.
No, she
Then
just
for the
stands
kids,
still in
we have
T
an
poses.
early version of Chip, or Child 5, as he's referred to in the files, getting scared. And then there are various early sprites of Mike, including an idle animation, him playing skee-ball, looking for something, walking, talking.
He looks like he has a 5
5
o'clock shadow in some of them.
Now, what's also noteworthy here is that two of these early sprite sets feature Mike with the design on his shirt, while the rest don't. And the ones that don't also have his face shaded differently. I've seen some suggest that this might be a beard, but I think that's unlikely given the likely age of Mike, so it's more likely that this is just shadowing on his face instead. Then next, we of course
looks
have
like he has a
whole
5
bunch
o'clock
of early
shadow, which
sprites
is kind
of
of
the game's
funny.
Protagonist Oswald, also thought to be remnants from the Super Nintendo version. And these include sprites for numerous animations, including Oswald escaping from something, presumably the yellow rabbit, with and without a flashlight, Oz getting in and out of a kitchen counter, him interacting, getting into a locker, hiding under a table from various directions in both a regular and faster version, a pair of animations for him hiding under a bed, him being shocked, getting in and out of a chest.
The hair is crazier.
Opening the freezer door, apparently opening up a glass door, reaching for something meant for a cutscene during Night 4, Oswald looking up and getting scared, then sweating and looking back down, a sideways animation of him talking meant for Night 1, and then there are also animations for two actions Oswald can't do in the final cut of the game, blowing a flame in order to melt some ice, as well as jump. Now, the ice melting was something that the player was once supposed to do during Night 2, likely to get another item in the game. Probably in the freezer, as that opening animation I mentioned earlier was also meant for Night 2. And then it's unclear if jumping would have been just something that Oswald would do during a certain cutscene, or if it was actually going to be a part of his moveset, but either way, it never ended up getting used. Then lastly, there's also an animation of Oswald getting grabbed and shaken by the yellow rabbit. But interestingly here, this is like a blend of styles, as Spring Bonnie here isn't using 16-bit SNES coloring, and for the final frame of this animation, Oswald uses his final design, which is kinda weird to see. And of course, we can't forget about our man Jeff here. He also has some early animations left over. There are sprites for him talking, walking, and exhaling, looking just as miserable in each of these as ever.
Right.
I think it's
He's
really
supposed to
cool
look like a
see all
zombie.
of these early style sprites. Pretty crazy that it looks like the entire game was pretty far along before the decision was made to remake a bunch of the assets. And honestly, I think it's even more crazy that these were still left over in the launch build of the game.
Well, they do it on
For the second
purpose.
half
Give us a
this
bunch of
video,
stuff to
there are
comb
also
through.
a whole ton of unused graphics left over in the game from the final style that it took. For starters, there are some early versions of the buildings seen on the game's map screen. We got an old version of the library building where it looks a lot more run down, and honestly, with the large books text, it looks a lot more like a bookstore than a library.
Yeah,
And
it
we
does.
also got this early design of the mill, where it looks completely different and has a little water wheel going on in the front here. Next, there's an early version of Oswald's home with a different design, mainly lacking the front porch seen in the final one.
Yeah.
And then lastly, there's a graphic for a scrapped town square area featuring a nice little fountain.
Little fountain.
I guess this was once intended to be an area for the player to visit, but no such area is ever seen in the final cut.
Yeah, not anymore.
And speaking of areas that the player was once planned to visit, apparently there were plans for the player to actually go inside the library instead of just interacting with characters outside of it, as left over in the game is a completely scrapped librarian character that would have presumably been found inside the library. Yeah, a librarian in a library. Checks out.
Shocking.
And for this librarian, in addition to idling, we also have animations of her bending over and speaking, walking, as well as adjusting her glasses and dusting off her skirt. So yeah, definitely looks like there were more plans for the library than what we ended up getting. And this makes sense. I think in my first playthrough, I only went there like once, so it definitely felt underutilized. And since we're talking about the early buildings, there are actually early gameplay.
I still want to know what happens if you get both the mask and the game
Oswald's home, which looks quite a bit different, notably having a chimney here, as well as white picket fence out front.
And give it to the kid.
Then we also have day and night sprites for the mill area, obviously rocking the early design that we just went over earlier. This also isn't just the back of the mill as is seen in the final build, and it certainly seems like the original idea was for the player to actually enter inside of it too. And then lastly, we also have an early graphic for the library, where although it looks similar to its final design, yup, like I speculated earlier, it looks like it was originally, in fact, planned to be a
Which is weird because in the game itself, it is the library that you go to.
Or bookstore, it certainly does seem like it was once planned to play a bigger part in the game.
Yeah, because in the story you do go in.
Graphics for various rooms and objects in the game that appear to be from a style somewhere between the original Super Nintendo version and what we ended up getting in the final cut. For starters, with the school, there are background graphics for the main hallway, where some things, like the blue stripe on the walls and power box here, look similar. Overall, we can see that it looks quite different. And also for the school, left over are some early lockers, where they can be seen a bit taller compared to what they look like in the final game. Then, onto Oswald's home, we first have an early version of Oswald's room, which notably has its layout flipped compared to the final version. Then we got early background graphics for Oswald's basement, one with the window open, and then one with it closed, and with an added table complete with a nice bloody knife here. Seeing that randomly pop up in the basement honestly would have been pretty cool to see in the game.
And weird.
And then there are also several early objects for the dining room area, including an early version of the calendar, some shelves, a chair, cabinet, as well as a hatch leading up to the attic, which seems to reveal that originally the player would be able to get to the attic from the dining room instead of the one hallway as it was ultimately changed to. Then onto the pizzerias, we got early versions of the ball pit room for both the present, where it looks really basic, as well as the past. Both of these look quite a bit smaller than how the room is seen in the final
version. All the
version,
rooms seem to be smaller than they originally were.
The early animatronic mural on the wall here. And interestingly, we can also see the sun and rainbow art on the wall, and this is something that did go on to remain in the final version. So with how this rainbow was near the edge of the room there, we can see just how much this room was expanded.
Yeah.
And much like the even earlier ball pit graphic
the entire ball pit
earlier, there's also a slightly updated one, but still different than the final design. And interestingly, you can still enable this graphic in-game to see just how different it is compared to the final design. Also here, and for all of these early rooms, we can see that the entrance is seen as a door on the left side, instead of being towards the player as it's seen in the final. Then also for the ball pit, there are various graphics that were once planned to appear in the foreground, and these appear to be just bigger versions of stuff like the rocking horse and slide that are seen there normally.
Yeah.
And there are these early foreground graphics for both the present
that slide gets a lot bigger.
Version 2. Then just outside of the ball pit room, if we remove the door that leads to it, we can find a normally unseen little sign there that just reads play area. I assume this was meant to be a sign that would be placed over top of the door to indicate what was inside. Next, we have similar background graphics for the pizzeria basement, again in both a past and present variety. And for the basement, there are also various other unused object sprites, including stuff like a furnace, a shelf, some chairs, a chest, table, a poster of a pea, a golf club, a quill, yeah, I don't know, as well as a pair of seemingly busted arcade machines. And interestingly enough, it looks like this early version of the basement room is actually still left over in the Switch dev build that was leaked. So we'll chat more about it in a future video when I dive more into that dev build. So we talked a bunch about the old security room earlier, but left over in the game for the past version of the room, we also have this sprite of Chica's head. And this is apparently supposed to be the Chica's head that's seen in FNAF 3. And then for the present version, we also have an early version of Jeff's monitors, where their contents can be seen flipped compared to the final version.
Later, so the taskbar
then
actually
also
goes
for
away
the
every now and
security
again.
office, there are sprites for an otherwise unseen night guard suit that seems to have been meant to be used there. And it has this animation of it moving as if it were on a door that got slammed or something.
Okay, yeah, you guys can't hear it. Good.
And for the dining area for Jeff's, we have some early looking graphics of chairs and tables, a menu poster, and then this other graphic that appears to have been an early version of the main stage curtains as well. And similarly, for this customer, seen in Night 2, there's also some early sprites of her chatting on the phone.
Okay.
Then lastly for Jeff's Pizza,
Much more
this
simpler.
unused secret door that was meant for the arcade room. And this door can actually be re-enabled in the game, and by doing so, we can see it was meant to be hidden behind this arcade machine on the right side of the room. And furthermore, its functionality can be re-enabled too, so you can open it to reveal that this was actually the original way that Oswald was going to enter Afton's room where his dad is trapped, instead of having to go through a vent to get there, and the main door being revealed to be found behind the prize machine in the arcade towards the end of the game. In my first playthrough, I always thought that this peeling wall here was suspicious, and this is also referred to as Killer Door Tarp. And speaking of the arcade, there are also early versions of basically all of the machines seen there. The changes are often quite minimal, with just better shading or slightly different colors. Like, as seen with the Helpulese machine here, the changes aren't huge. But on the other hand, the prize machine also had a few extra changes in the old version, such as missing the Foxy mask, which is good they added it back in, as there's a severe lack of Foxy in the game, as it is. The exotic Butters bowl is smaller in the old version, and there's also these yellow balls in the bottom right. And it seems like you can still see their silhouette in the final version of the machine, and seeing these here now, this looks kinda strange. Then, in addition to the early arcade machines, there are also two joystick-operated ones that seem to have gotten scrapped. A pretty generic teal one, and then there's also this
Are you gonna watch
pizza
the
slice
Dark FNAF theories on the
and
internet?
now,
Possibly,
for
John.
this first
Possibly.
video, there are several unused animations
Probably
for
after
a bunch
this,
of the game's characters. For starters, there are various unused animations of the kids that you save throughout the game. For each of them, except for the first one, there are animations of them being grabbed and shaken, presumably by the yellow rabbit. And then also animations of them being freed from whatever was holding them, with an extra one for the first child where he looks more frightened. Then also for each of the kids, there are animations of them jumping into the ball pit.
Into the ball pit? That would be
after you
great.
rescued them, you would have had to bring them to the ball pit or something. Then, in addition to those, there are unused animations of Oswald untying Chip from the arcade machine, as well as the hammer on the machine bonking him on the head. There are nervous walking animations for the first kid you save, an unused idle animation, him crying, as well as handing Oswald some keys. What's also interesting about all of these unused sprites for this character is that he can be seen wearing a blue hat, while in the final game, he's always hatless. And it's unclear what these keys would have been for, but honestly, I think this would have fleshed out this character at least a bit more than just seeing him peace out immediately after you rescue him. And the file name for this animation also refers to this child as Trevor, so I guess Trevor was intended to have been his name.
Ain't messing around with Spring Bunny. Right, I'm out.
For the cut content here, as there's also some unused dialogue for Trevor here for when he'd give Oswald the keys. he was meant to have said, "I don't have the guts to stick around, but please look for Mark and help him. I hope you find your dad." I don't recall there being any Marks in the game here, so perhaps since the names are similar, Mike used to be named Mark instead. Then for the second trapped child, there's also an unused animation of him crawling out of a cabinet door. And earlier, you also might have noticed that the character that I mentioned for the second trapped child are completely different than the one that's seen in the game. And yeah, that's because I guess before the decision was made to change it to Mike, it was this guy who's apparently known as Cody. Yeah, you remember that one guy from the beginning of the game that's seen playing that one arcade game that's basically
No, that's definitely the same kid.
Yeah, well, in addition to the animations I mentioned earlier, there's also an unused idle animation, him walking nervously, and then to add to that animation of him emerging from the cabinet I mentioned earlier.
It's because he just looks too cool.
Exactly how Mike is seen doing after
he's just too cool. America Eagle Shotgun Paradise,
based on all
right?
Of this, and well, the file names for this character referring to him as Child 2, it does look like Cody here was originally going to be the second kid that you rescued. Then after these, we also have some unused animations for Oswald as well as his dad. For starters, there are unused sprites for a cutscene animation of Oswald digging through the Baltic frantically, as well as Oswald's dad shaking his head. Now, although I don't think it's 100% clear where these were to be used, my best guess is that it would have been for a cutscene near the start of the game after the yellow rabbit first grabs Oswald's dad and pulls him into the pit. As there, Oswald would be digging through the pit to find his dad, and then this head shaking may have been meant for after he's pulled out onto the floor.
Yeah.
Then, much like the other kids we went over earlier, in addition to all of the early Oswald animations, there are also several that go unused in his final style. Well, for the most part. These include Oswald being grabbed and shaken like the other kids with and without a flashlight.
That looks like a chat.
And although Oswald does get grabbed by the yellow rabbit in the game, those sprites look different. And then we got him dialing and making a phone call, and then an animation of him apparently pulling the school fire alarm for what appears to be an also scrapped section of the game, as we also have unused sprites for the fire alarm being pulled. Now this animation of Oswald appears to be identical to the one for him pulling the breaker switch whenever the power goes out in the pizzeria, but the sprites for pulling the fire alarm switch are distinct in the files.
Oh, okay.
Now I said for the most part earlier, as there's actually one more unused animation of Oswald getting grabbed. And although he looks similar to his final design here, he actually has the bigger, more round nose that was seen in his early design. So this appears to be another case of an in-between style being used.
Yeah.
Then next, we also have what looks to be an unused animation of Oswald using the sticky hand. And although similar, the animation that is seen in the game has the hand stretching out much further. And then there's also this animation of Oswald opening a locker, and you may remember these as the old style lockers that we went over
we don't even
earlier.
open lockers anymore.
And lastly for Oswald, there's actually an early version of the interaction prompt left over in the game. Instead of either being a magnifying glass, hiding icon, or bell, as is seen in the final, the old graphic would quite literally just say, interact. And as you can see, this early graphic can actually still be re-implemented in the game too, so we can see it in action as well. Next, we got a rather creepy unused animation of Oswald's dad turning his head a full 180 degrees, before it quickly flashes to turn into the yellow rabbit's head. I honestly wonder at what point in the game this was originally intended to have been used. And then lastly, at least for this part 1, there are some creepy looking sprites referred to only as animatronic head. And apparently, this is a sprite that looks to be based on or reworked from one of Pop Goes the Weasel from the far off time of 2015. In any case, it's currently unclear where this head was going to be used.
Who knows? Mangle caused by
these
definitely
aren't all of the unused
100%.
graphics left over in this game, as there are several others, including graphics for some unused achievements, mini-games, items, more unused characters with more dialogue, and more. But I'll save those for follow-up videos. And there is a lot more to go over, so I'm thinking this game will probably take...
Let's jump to this one. Theories on the internet, 10 minutes. Alright, let's see this. Hear this. only a 10-minute video, and then we're gonna get back into the pit because I'm continuing to try and do a thing. Actually, I'll look it up real quick to see if it's ever been done. The darkest FNAF theories on the internet.
Since the first game's release in
months
2014,
ago.
Five Nights at Freddy's opened Pandora's box, and the theories came flooding out, ranging from short, simple and sweet theories like Chica searching for her cupcake, to Matt Pat's disturbing theory linking the game to the real tragic Chuck E. Cheese murders committed by Nathan Dunlop in 1993. However, I'm taking a look at what is possibly the darkest Five Nights at Freddy's theories on the internet. So, before I dive in, I want to state I don't take credit for any of these theories, I only take credit for number 4. Also, if you want to argue this isn't the place to do it, go argue on Reddit. These theories are just that. They're theories and what if scenarios. I'm not saying these are canon theories, I'm just reading them and giving my opinion. The comment section is for good boys and girls only who want to discuss theories and have a jolly gay old time, so be nice. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like so I can help SpongeBob me Bob feed Gary some cookies. Anyways, let's dive in.
Okay.
Number 1. William murdered Cassidy by spring-locking her inside of Fredbear. So, this theory follows the death of Cassidy being the 5th MCI victim, and that when William lured her into the back room to murder her, once she realised what he was doing, she fought back and clawed at William's hands and arms and bit him in an attempt to get away. William, enraged as a result of Cassidy fighting back, forced her inside Fredbear and forced the spring locks, putting Fredbear into animatronic mode with Cassidy inside, thus spring locking her. Now, there is evidence supporting this, but also evidence that dismisses it. First, I'll start with the evidence which supports this theory. Golden Freddy twitches similar to how Springtrap twitches in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 trailer. Also, Golden Freddy's slouched position is similar to Affin's when he got spring-locked. Furthermore, this would help explain why Cassidy holds a stronger resentment towards William than the rest of his victims, which explains why she cannot let go in Ultimate Custom Night. Whereas...
We're finished the video, but it hurts because, in my opinion, Cassidy is crying child. So I'm hearing it and I'm thinking Sammy. I'm thinking Sammy, not Cassidy. I'm thinking Sammy is who he's referring to, which is the vengeful spirit, which is true. There is a lot of evidence that supports that, that supports that the spirit in Golden Freddy was spring locked on accident or on purpose, it doesn't matter, but that they got spring locked and they drowned in their own blood, and that's one of the reasons why they're a vengeful spirit, because the way that they died was way more agonizing than the way that any of the other kids died. Sammy, or the one you should not have killed, suffered way more, right? And that is part of my Sammy theory is part of that, is that's why it's one of the reasons why Sammy is the one you should not have killed, partly because it was a way more agonizing and painful death. He drowned in his own blood, unable to make sounds because his lungs had been literally punctured by the spring locks. He's also the one that he should not have killed because he was the first kill. He was an accidental kill, but he was the kill that unlocked the thought in William's mind that he could get away with the murders, the murdering of children. So that's why he's the one you should not have killed, because he started he's the one that kicked off the killing spree that eventually happened. So there are many things. He's also the one you should not have killed because he is the wound first inflicted on Henry. You people in the world that knows the FNAF lore, MatPat does not know the FNAF lore. He will tell you more than anybody that he doesn't know the FNAF lore. He is guessing just as much as the rest of us. Nobody in the world knows the true FNAF lore except for Scott Cawthon. Scott Cawthon is the only person that knows the FNAF lore from beginning to end. He won't even tell. He won't tell anybody. He won't even tell Steelwool all of the facts. Like, that's how close of a secret it is, and that's why. But he explained that too. He's being a little bit more open with his game partners now than he was, because he said that in the second interview that he was so secretive with Security Breach. He was only giving them information. He was only giving them like the things that he needed to see in the game, but he wasn't giving them the through story for all those things needing to happen, to the point where they made up their own story to connect it all, and it ended up being a completely different story than what he intended. And he was like, I learned my lesson with that. That he can't do that anymore. And that's why Ruin was so much better than the original Security Breach, because of that exact fact, because he actually shared the story. And that's why Help Wanted 2 is also capable of being more than what Help Wanted was, because Help Wanted, if you look at it, the majority of Help Wanted is just a remake of what a remake of the first 4 games, and then there was more content added on that he told them about and stuff. But the majority of that game is just you replaying the original. Whereas Help Wanted 2, he gave them more information. He gave them the story. He gave them the story that he wanted to see in Help Wanted 2, all of it, and that's why they were able to add in so much more original content into it versus Help Wanted 1. And yeah. It's like, and I don't know where to stop with that. But no, this guy's saying Cassidy constantly in reference to who I call Sammy. It's a little triggering. I'm just glad he hasn't said Evan yet. If he says, here's my one thing. This is my one caveat with anything. I will watch any theory video that you guys want me to watch until the person starts calling Crying Child Evan. The second someone calls Crying Child Evan, I'm out. I automatically don't believe, none of their theory is relevant to me anymore. Anyone who uses the name Evan for Crying Child or for Vengeful Spirit is instantly gone, in my opinion. They're uncredible. They are no longer a credible source to me when it comes to theory making. Anyone who uses the name Evan, immediately not credible to me. So, but other than that, but yeah, I'll continue watching this one. I just want to point that out. I think he's Sammy. I think the Vengeful Spirit is Sammy, Henry's son, Charlie's twin brother. I think the name Cassidy belongs to Crying Child, and I know a lot of people are like, Cassidy's a girl's name and Crying Child's a boy. In the UK, where the Aftons are from, Cassidy is a boy's name. So, there you go.
As evidence dismissing this theory ranges from points such as, if she were spring-locked, that would place Fredbear in animatronic mode,
if he were
and she would be able to stand up and walk around and so on. Points such as, there are no visible animatronic parts in Golden Freddy's eyes. So, I'm not sure about this one.
So, okay, so actually this is explained away too. This is explained away very easily, right? So Sammy, and this is how I explain it too. So Sammy is spring locked in the same animatronic that bites Cassidy. So after it malfunctions in front of people and bites Cassidy in the head and causes him to go to a coma, that suit is now decommissioned, which means that they physically removed the animatronic, the endoskeleton, the spring-lock endoskeleton from inside of the suit. That's why the suit looks so much more empty than any of the other suits, even when it's deactivated, even when it's in suit mode, because it's had its guts removed on purpose because it attacked a child. How do we know the Afton family is from the UK? Sister location. Sister location. Hold on, I'll show you, man. I got you. Check this out. Hold on. FNAF 5 voice lines. All voice lines. So check this out. So listen. Okay, that's the Babby's. Okay. Get past Freddy.
I can hear someone creeping through my room.
Well, she doesn't matter anyway. Hold on. Here we go.
We need you so that we can hide. We need you so that we can leave. I know it was an accident. Isn't this why you came here?
This is Elizabeth
Be
Afton.
with me again. I don't understand. I don't understand. Everything is okay.
Like, you can't tell me that is not a super extremely British little girl. She is the most British little girl.
I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Hello?
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 You have to let me inside the room.
You have to let me inside the room. That's very British.
Daddy, why won't you let me play with her?
Exactly. Thank you.
You let the other children go see her. Why won't you
Let me go?
Daddy,
Afton is also British. Michael is also British. They all three sound very British.
Didn't you make her just for me? Daddy, she can make balloons. Have you seen her make balloons? Oh, Daddy, let me go to her. Daddy isn't watching. Don't tell Daddy that I'm here. I wanted to watch a show too. I don't know why he won't let me come see you. You're wonderful. Where did the other children go?
Father,
Here we go.
it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be.
British.
They were all there.
He's more subtly British
They
than
didn't
his sister, but he's still
recognize me
British.
at first, but then they thought I was you,
You can hear it.
and I found her. I put her back together, just like you asked me to. She's free now, but something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you.
But yeah, they're all British. You can hear it. In Michael, it's not as prevalent. Obviously, he's not a little girl. You find CC real voice lines. I don't think Crying Child has real voice lines. Crying Child doesn't have a voice. I don't. Does Crying Child have a voice? Today's topic is Crying Child. Okay, Michael. In UCN, we. What? AKA Michael. No. No, we're made to kill. The Funtime animatronics were made to kill kids. Have been made to capture kids and send them to Afton for his experiments with FNAF 4. That's actually a good question that the theorist community has, is whether or not the Funtimes were made to just house kids and take them to Afton, or if they were literally created to capture and murder children immediately. And I think it depends on which Funtime you're looking at. I think that Funtime Freddy and Foxy were built to house and bring back, but I think that Funtime that Circus Baby was literally made just to capture and kill kids immediately. Because the theory for me behind that is that if William was using Remnant, Agony, whatever, to try and bring back his daughter in Circus Baby, he knows the easiest way to get Remnant is the murdering of children. So if Circus Baby is is the end goal, is to pump as much Remnant into Circus Baby to help with the bringing Elizabeth fully back to life, what up, Rose? Then her murdering children herself died inside of baby because she suffocated and she had a heart attack in baby. Yeah. She had a heart attack in baby. Did she have a heart attack in baby? Is that in the actual lore? But well, yeah, because no, you're right, because Elizabeth was never supposed to be captured. So no, having Remnant go into Circus Baby immediately actually doesn't make sense. Honestly, it's weird because you would think. So this is what throws off everything, is that fact. It's the fact that people think, and you're right. She did not. Yeah. So the funny thing about that, actually, now that I think about it, right? So the funny thing about it, thinking about it now, is that a lot of people think that he built the Fun Times because he was trying to put Cassidy back together, right? Right. Flesh. What up, Mega Sand? How we doing? So anyway, so the thought was that he made the Fun Times because he wanted to collect Remnant and stuff to be able to put Cassidy back together. No space for a kid inside. Is she the biggest? I think Funtime Freddy is actually the biggest Funtime. Funtime animatronic. Is it Circus Baby? No, I think it's Funtime. I think he's actually bigger. I think she just always looks bigger because she's in the foreground. Yeah, if you look, she's standing in front of Funtime Freddy, and he is still bigger than her, even though he's in front of her, right? I think Funtime Freddy is the biggest. You gotta remember, also in Count the Ways, Funtime Freddy is so big that literally a literal teenage girl, 15, 16, can comfortably fit inside of his chest cavity to the point where she can take up less than half of it. Circus Baby is 8 feet something. I think Funtime Freddy is that big too. Because again, inside of this chest cavity right here, he doesn't look that tall just looking at him because of the way that his dimensions look and stuff. But inside of this one chest cavity, he can hold a full-grown teenage girl in her, like 16, 17-year-old girl inside of his chest cavity, and she's able to crush herself down to half the size of it. So this chest cavity's gotta be big. Too tall, shown in her blueprint, making her second tallest animatronic and sister kitchen next to Ennard. Oh yeah. Oh, Funtime animatronics. Blueprints. Yeah, that actually will work. Blueprints. Let's look at them. All right. Freddy is. Oh yeah, he's only 6 feet tall. He is bigger. Wow, I thought he would be bigger. You know what that tells us? That tells us that Millie is tiny. That Millie is a small person. Height 6 foot. Ballora 6'2". Ballora's as tall as me. I'm as tall as Ballora. Whereas Baby is just slightly shorter than Victor Wembanyama. That's crazy. She's as big as Shaq. She's as big as Shaquille O'Neal, guys. Circus Baby is as big as Shaquille O'Neal. Foxy's only 5'9". Foxy's a short little fuck. Foxy can't actually. I don't think Foxy can hold children. Open image and new tab. Yeah, I don't think he can hold a child. I don't think his chest cavity can hold a child. Nope. I think he can just lure them. Parental voice sync and replay. Variable scent release. Remote floor anchor. Circus Baby. C Circus Baby Direct 7. Okay. So, okay. Let me see. So, Circus Baby. Emergency stop. Song data bank. Internal ice cream dispenser. Air hose attachment. We got the weird clown. The weird Harlequin shoes. Yeah. How old is Baby then? It doesn't tell you that. It won't tell you that. Copyright, no date, no year given. No year given. So we don't know out. It's on purpose. It's on purpose because it's supposed to be ambiguous on what year Circus Baby actually opens. We just know it's after the closing of a Fredbear's, not Fredbear's, of a Freddy Fazbear's, the pizzeria, but we don't know which one. So I honestly believe, me personally, my theory and my timeline, Circus Babies tried to open up right before the FNAF 2 location. Circus Baby, then a kid will fit just... I know, right? Well, that's the thing. No, that's the thing. It's not even in Circus Baby. The teenager fits in him. Fits in Freddy at 6'2". How big is Freddy's chest cavity? Because the rest of him, he's only 6'2". How does there's a child in here right now. So Millie must have just been a small teenager. Like, she just must have been a small teenager. What if this is Millie? Bro, how crazy would that be? What if this is Millie inside, right? We know the place shut down after Elizabeth died. We know that Circus Babies shut down. So here's the thing. This is why... Okay, so the reason that I think that Circus Baby and Circus Baby's Party World and the FNAF 2 location was opening around the same time is because what I think it opened up a little bit after FNAF. I think the FNAF 2 location opened up, and then like that same week Circus Babies was going to open up, but then Elizabeth died. Because can you zoom in right here? Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah. Like we can zoom in some. We can see that there is a child with a ponytail. This could be, it's not Millie, obviously, but it's yeah. In the sister location is a Ballora prototype suit. How do you know that? How do we know that, John? You gotta give me facts, my dude. Can we go back to... Yeah, 1 second. I want to talk about... I just want to finish this thought. So, the reason that I think Circus Babies and FNAF 2 opened around the same time is because I think... My general belief is that Afton started killing again. He committed the FNAF 2 murders because Elizabeth dying. That was his way of emotionally coping with the loss of his daughter. That's my proof of the proof is in the pudding, is that he murders whenever his he has a plate is the same as Ballora's suit. The faceplate? You think so? Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Sister location, spring lock, suit, face. Okay, so we got this face. So this is the faceplate right here, right? Okay. Ballora faceplate. Images. See. I want to get a good one. Let me open this one. Okay, so let me see that. Hold on. No, it's not. No, it's not. It looks like it. It almost does. Do I have this? I do not. No, John, so you're close, but here's how I know it's not, because of this line right here. Because it opens underneath the eyes. Ballora's opens up at the eyes. If you look at hers separates at the eyes. The eyes are where it splits open instead of underneath the eye. So that's how we know it's not the same faceplate, unfortunately. So it's not it's not the same faceplate. It's very, very close though. It's very, very close. It actually almost looks more like, hold on, Ennard's faceplate. Ennard face. No, okay, so no, Ennard's not Ennard's either, because his opens up at the mouth. So no, it's not any of the faceplates. It's close. maybe it's an older version of Ballora. A lot of people, I think what it is, I think it's an animatronic that we've never seen. Or it's a Chica. It could be Chica. Yeah, we're gonna go back to the video. John. Let me do my thing, man. Leave me alone. Let me do my thing. Anyways, but yeah. But no, yeah, so that's the explanation. Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
There are strong grounds for this being true, but it would need further evidence and confirmation for me to take it on as headcanon in my own mind. So you decide, does this theory hold weight or not? Number 2. Fazbear Entertainment found the MCA victims' bodies. So, this theory follows the train of thought that the MCA victims' bodies were found by Fazbear Entertainment in the original animatronics at the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, not to be confused with Fredbear's Family Diner. And while they were being moved to the FNAF 2 location, the bodies were disposed of. This is so they could keep the company from shutting down.
We don't have Crying Child. Crying Child doesn't have voice lines. Does Crying Child have voice lines? Okay, so that's wrong. First off, this is wrong because Michael is not Crying Child. Find Afton family voice line. Chris Afton, Crying Child. Mom, Dad, can anyone hear me? What is this place? Where am I? Father, are you? Okay, so that's not real. It's been for. No, you're good, Cherry Lesson. I've been gone for like almost a week. Also, hi, hello Rose, welcome, hello Rose again. How are you? If you guys haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Oh, hey, look at that. We've gotten 2 subs actually. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. But no, Crying Child voiceover. Yeah, FNAF 4. Okay, so this is just someone making a voiceover. Crying Child's voice lines. So here's why Gregory is the Crying Child. So no, neither of these are real. What happened to the Crying Child? I heard a theory that the Crying Child was indented to be the puppet as Charlie was. Yeah. I thank you for the subs. I appreciate it, guys. Is a prototype for Circus Baby the baby we see in FNAF? Wait, is the prototype for Circus Baby the baby we see in FNAF? I don't know what you mean by that.
Told the police or parents, which makes the company that much more evil, as the parents.
The Goat of the Tanner Show and FNAF. What in the hell is that name? That is the longest name I've ever seen on YouTube. Bro, you gotta put some shortening in that name. Days ago, I got my first sub. By the way, I only make playlists. Nice, cool. Cherry Blossom, congrats. Hold on, what was I gonna say? So for this theory right here that he's talking about, the Fazbear Entertainment found the MCI victims. So here's my thing. I think people take it too literal when they say that, when we say that, that William stuffed the kids in the suits. I don't think he left them in the suits, guys. I think he stuffed them in there to hide them for the day, but then he took them out and disposed of the bodies. What if all the Afton family... Wait, is all the Afton family dead? Technically, yes. Technically, yeah. After FNAF 6. After FNAF 6, what does the prototype for Circus Baby looks like? I don't know. I've never seen a prototype for Circus Baby. I think it's just Circus Baby. But yes, all the Aftons are dead after FNAF 6. After FNAF 6, technically, after Sister Location, all of the Aftons are technically dead. But Elizabeth is currently in the puppet. Cassidy is wandering the pizzerias looking for his body and never finding it. He's a disembodied spirit who never finds an animatronic to take over, right? William is dead after FNAF 2. He gets spring locked before. I think he gets spring locked before FNAF 1 even happens. In my honest opinion, he's already spring locked, and then we find out that he's actually dead in FNAF 3. The only Afton who we can't confirm dead is Mrs. Afton. We don't know what happens with her. Working on some candy. By the way, candy is stuff made with bead and string. Oh, cool. Nice. But yeah. So there's that. So yeah, so all the Aftons are technically dead minus Mrs. Afton because we have no way of like knowing, right? Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't yet. We're gonna continue with some of the darkest FNAF theories. But so this one that he's talking about right here is, does Fazbear Entertainment find the bodies of the MCI victims post the MCI killings? And the answer is no, obviously not. From FNAF 6, the prototype for Circus Baby. Oh, no, that's Scrap Baby. Okay, so Scrap Baby. So what happens? Okay, so Sister Location happens, and they become entered, and they take over. They take over Michael's body and uses his corpse to be able to leave the FNAF 6 bunker. But then after a while, his body starts decomposing, and they realize that he's not useful anymore. So entered the amalgamation of Funtime Foxy, Funtime Freddy, Bon Ballora, Entered, and Circus Baby. They come out as an amalgamation. We saw in a live stream of game theorists and a bunch of other FNAF theorists coming together to talk about the storyline and stuff. During that happening, we saw a conversation happening between the FNAF World site and the Scott Games site that was essentially a conversation of Circus Baby and the Entered amalgamation talking to each other. Her telling them what to do because she wants to go help William, them telling her no because they don't want to help William, her saying you have to listen to me, them saying we don't need you anymore, and which turned into basically her being separated from the group. When she got kicked out of the group, she was just a small portion of parts and pieces that was barely being held together by her remnant, right? So she traveled and she rebuilt herself. The unknown cameraman, what's going on? What's up? Rose. So basically she rebuilt herself with scrap parts, and that's why she becomes Scrap Baby, because she's just an amalgamation of a bunch of scrap parts that she was able to find to rebuild her body. That's why she has like roller skates for feet. For one of her arms is a claw, because that's actually the claw from her stomach that she had to repurpose as an arm because she didn't have a second arm and stuff. So that's what that is. So the FNAF 6 Circus Baby is literally just her rebuilding her body out of scrap, and that's why she's called Scrap Baby. In most AU, she possesses Ballora thanks to a popular FNAF song animation. Her death is often that of a car crash. In other AU, she may have been murdered. I think it's none of those, and I don't think Ballora is her. I don't think she actually possesses Ballora. So what I think it is that she left William, and he built Ballora in the image of his wife, and then, you know, used Remnant or Agony to, like, bring her to life, but it's not actually her. I think she's alive and off somewhere. I think she left when her kids started dying. She couldn't take being with him anymore and left, right? John, don't tell me what to do. I get to talk about my theories as much as I want. Anyways, but I haven't actually talked about this theory yet. Well, I keep trying to, but you guys keep asking me other questions. Anyways, no, I don't think Fazbear finds the bodies. I don't think William actually just leaves the bodies to rot forever. I think that's a misconception because the news articles were talking about the fact that blood and mucus was seeping out of the animatronics. I think the blood and mucus is more of a creation from the spirits, right? Have eyeshadow, but Circus Baby doesn't, because of what she used, or she committed suicide. I don't think she does. I don't think that's it. Yeah. So here's the thing: you can't use anything from any FNAF songs as any of your stuff, So you can't use FNAF songs at all for any theorizing. well, as proof for your theories, as proof. You can use them to theorize because you can get ideas from them, but you can't use them as the basis for your theories because they are fan-made. It's just like you can't use Joy of Creation for anything. You can't use Pop Goes for anything because those are fan-made. So you can't use any of that. You can only use fully licensed games and books and movies made under Scott Cawthon's actual umbrella, right? So you can't. So yes, there's a popular FNAF song that has an animation of her dying in a car crash or being killed by William. None of that is admissible in the court of theorizing. Yeah, they have lore, but the problem is that the lore doesn't count. They have inadvertent lore to make the songs work, but that lore isn't usable in actual theorizing, right? Because it's not Scott Cawthon made or Scott Cawthon approved. It's made because it's made. Now, onto this theory that he's talking about. No, I don't think a lot of people think that William stuffed them in the suits and just left them there, and I don't think that's the case. I think he just hid them in the suits until everybody else had cleared out and the coast was clear that he could then remove their bodies and dispose of them. I don't think he actually left the corpses of these kids to rot in these suits until they finally withered away. Also, it took years between the FNAF 1 location and the FNAF 2 location. The bodies would have broken down, even if he did leave them in the suits. After 4 years, the bodies would have been broken down to nothing more than skeletal remains by the time that FNAF 2 happened. So they might have found little tiny children bones inside these suits, but the suits would have gone through maintenance way before then. Kongai Hoinya. Hello, how we doing? I'm just gonna call you Kongai. What's going on? How you guys doing? If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like what I'm doing so far. If you guys want to talk about theories, if you guys have theories that you guys want to talk about, we can talk about them. I'm gonna go back into this. Like I said, this theory very debunked. I don't think William was dumb enough to leave his victims actually in the suits where they could be found by anyone else working on the suits.
Couldn't lay their children to rest or find closure in their disappearance.
Right.
While this has some weight to it, I believe it's false. Imagine it though. What did they do with the bodies to dispose of them? Who found the bodies? Did the phone guy know? And if so, did he help? It's disturbing to think about, but it's also interesting to theorize about. Number 3. Glamrock Freddy is manipulating Gregory. The theory follows the train of thought that throughout Security Breach, Freddy helps Gregory but makes him do most of the work throughout the night, and uses reverse psychology to give Gregory the idea to destroy other Glamrock animatronics so he can use their parts to upgrade himself, and that the endings of the game are not real, that ultimately Freddy was the final boss of the game, and once he got the final upgrade, he asked Gregory to climb inside his stomach hatch, and after doing so, Freddy crushed him and Gregory did not survive.
I fully think that Ballora is based off of William's wife, but I don't think he literally murdered his wife and put her into the suit or anything like that. I think it's more of like on the same footing as, well, if you read Silver Eyes, right? Charlie is a robot in that, but Henry built her as a robot, and she has the memories and stuff, and she believes, she believes that she is Charlie, but he didn't have Charlie's corpse or anything like that in order to create her. He created her from scratch, and he put all that in there himself. And I don't know how he does it, what the programming was, but that would have been literally like, before Ballora was created. So I could see Ballora, and Ballora is not as sophisticated a version as Charlie is. So William, I think he used Agony or Remnant or something to create a version of his wife in Ballora. And that's why she is the way that she is, because she's not talking or acting like she is full on a person. I think it's more of like she was built with the concept that she is going to know that there is a sense of loss as part of her identity, and that's why she is programmed to sing the song that she does and all this other stuff. And everything that she does can be attributed to William or whatever engineers he has building them, programming her to be that way. He wants her programmed with that song in her repertoire. He programs her or has her built to look the way that she does and stuff. And my two running theories that I will, until someone can prove me absolutely wrong, I will hold my ground on. One, Sammy is the first kill. Sammy is in the golden suit in FNAF 4 in the closet, and Sammy is Henry's son. Until I can get real proof that is wrong, I'm going to hold on to that one forever. Two, my other belief is that William Afton cannot build animatronics himself. I think he pays engineers to build animatronics for him. Did any of the killed kids remain in the animatronics? Did any remains of the killed kids remain in the animatronics? I think no. Well, maybe. I mean, obviously, like blood or whatnot would obviously stay, right? If he killed them. But I think he strangled the kids. I think he choked them to death or whatnot. I don't think he like stabbed them to death or anything like that. I think he killed them in a what is the word for it? In a non-mess making way, right? He's a large adult in a animatronic suit, so he has that extra animatronic strength on top of it. I think he like strangled them to death or like crushed them or something like that. I think he did a non-messy kill, so that way he could stuff them in the suit and they wouldn't leave any like real proof. Is yes. Mangle's gender is yes. Anyways, but yeah, I think so. So he would be able to stuff them in the animatronics, store them there for a little bit to like hide the body until the coast was clear, and then he got rid of the remains. They died in the animatronic suits. That's where they died, so that's where their spirits were at. Having their bodies removed caused them to become lost spirits, and I think that they were confused and lost spirits for a long time, who just kind of floated around the suits that they were stuffed in, because that's where they knew to be, or that was the last place they knew of their body to be, right? I think they stayed like that until Charlie was killed and turned into the puppet, and Charlie learned how to possess an animatronic and then taught that ability to the other spirits. That was her gift. She gave gifts, she gave life. The gift that she gave them was the closest thing to life, which is her ability to possess animatronics. Have I seen the movie? Yes. I have seen the movie. Yes, 100%. So I think Charlie dies, learns to possess the puppet, and then teaches that ability to the other spirits, to the other kids, and that's when they become the animatronics finally. Is through her teaching them. Anyways, back to this. Yeah. Glamrock Freddy is manipulating Gregory. I don't think so. I think Gregory is 100% manipulating Glamrock Freddy.
This is one of those what-if theories that obviously isn't canon, but rather a fun and interesting question to ask. It's a conversation to be had. To imagine if this were true, that would add a darker level to Security Breach, and I could see this potentially making the game more interesting as a result. It's also fun to think of where the game story could have gone if this were true, only Gregory sees Freddy isn't what he thought he was right before he climbs into his stomach hatch, and that could be the start of a chase sequence. And for the remainder of the game, we are chased by Freddy, who is a larger threat than Roxy, Chica, and even Monty combined. This would pull on the fans' heartstrings too, as one of the praised aspects of Security Breach is the cute heartwarming relationship between Freddy and Gregory. And if things played out this way, it would come as a huge twist and a huge betrayal.
I don't think that's the case.
What if William...
I think Freddy is just a himbo. What does yes mean for a gender? It means that it's ambiguous. He's an ambiguous gender. That Mangle is a they. Mangle's not a he, Mangle's not a she, Mangle is a they. Mangle has no gender. Mangle is a fucking animatronic, my dudes. Gender means nothing when you're a robot, right? But no, yeah, gender, yes, as a gender it was just his funny way of saying that there is no real gender. What hoax character do you think will show up in the sequel? What do you mean, hoax character do you think will show up in what sequel? There's no sequel. Oh, you mean the sequel to Security Breach? I don't know if there will be a sequel to Security Breach. I think we're going back in time for right now. I think we're going to learn the origin story of a lot of stuff. Here's my biggest prediction of FNAF going forward. I think Secret of the Mimic will not have an Afton in it. I think the Aftons will be absent from the game, period. I think there will be no Aftons involved. I think this is going to be a story of Henry's past, of Henry's reasoning for leaving Fall Fest and starting his own restaurant. That's what I think it's going to be. I think the Mimic is going to be involved in some way. I think Henry is going to, like, he builds the Mimic, and then the Mimic turns out to be bad, so he shuts the Mimic down, he locks it away with the Fall Fest stuff, and then he leaves, right? And he thinks that his one and only, like, deal with the FNAF movie sequel. I think we're going to see the puppet, for sure. I think Afton is going to be back, right? And I'm trying to think. In the movies, Garrett might end up being the puppet. Are the only animatronics that people say their names except he or she. Mangle and Lolbit are the only animatronics that people say their names instead of he or she. Yeah, because they don't have a gender. So it's they, them. They, them, which is fine. They, them, and here's my thing. Here's my thing about pronouns, going into politics or whatever. Here's my thing about pronouns and the people that are like, I don't do pronouns. Yes, you do. Everybody does fucking pronouns. If you are someone that goes, I don't believe in pronouns, you're fucking stupid. Plain and simple, you're a fucking idiot. I can't describe this any better, right? You're a fucking idiot. Everybody uses pronouns. Hey, did you see John? Yeah, he was over yesterday. You just used a fucking pronoun, you dumb son of a bitch. It's people, they don't want to respect someone else's personal identity and say she instead of he or he instead of she. And if that's your problem, then use they, them. If you don't want to agree with someone's gender pronoun, say they, them. Use they, them. And if you're someone, and when someone argues that they, them, that they don't like using they, them, you use they, them all the time. If I looked you in the eye and I said, yeah, so I saw Sam, so I met my new teacher, their name is Sam, what are you going to say back to me? How are you going to refer to my teacher now? Are you going to just guess what gender Sam is, since Sam is an ambiguous name? Or are you going to do what most people would do and say, oh, who are they? Or are they a good teacher? Until you find out the gender, right? My teacher Sam, I met my teacher Sam today. Oh, who are they? How are they? Are they a good teacher? That's what you're going to use. Anyone who doesn't want to use the pronouns, you're purely just being an asshole to be an asshole. There's nothing else to it. You're being political for no reason. Someone in your little cult following told you to be offended by it, so now you're offended by it. You were never offended by it back in the 90s or the 2000s. You're only offended by it now because someone told you that you should be offended by it. Because they tell you that it's connected to some other political thing that you're not okay with. I go by she, them because I'm a proud bi and half non-binary. There you go. There you go, Cherry Blossom, and I respect that. You do you. And here's the bigger thing. I don't know anybody's gender on the fucking internet. John the Troller could just be an alias. John could be a 47-year-old woman living in her basement or something, typing away on her keyboard. The unknown cameraman could be the unknown camera person. Just because it says cameraman is an ambiguous term. I know it says cameraman, but that's just a job title. Allison could be my cameraman just as much as Jake can be. How did William's body didn't rot completely from FNAF 1 to FNAF 3? So that one's actually funny. It is rotting inside. The reason that it's not right? But the reason that William's body it does rot. If you look, his body has rot quite a bit, being inside that suit. FNAF 3 Spring Bonnie. Images. So can we get the actual? We get real. Here we go. Yeah. So if you look, he's got. So what it is it's the same thing as with It looks like it might be the same thing because he's been messing with it. It actually makes sense. Him and Michael are the only two characters in the game so far where this could be a thing, where your body doesn't rot. He's not still alive. No. William Afton is fully dead. We got to get that. We got to get past that. As a community, we need to understand William Afton fully dead. But him and Michael went through the same thing. You got to remember what William Afton was doing before he got spring locked. He was playing with remnants, just like Michael was pumped full of remnants. They both are full of remnant or have remnant in their actual physical bodies, which means even after death, they can still be possessed by themselves. So William Afton has remnant because he's been playing with it, right? So once he died, that remnant, that remnant that's still part of him allowed him to repossess himself and the Spring Bonnie suit at the same time. Whereas Michael, when he should have died, he possessed his own physical body. Flash on it after 30 years, because that's what remnant does. It keeps whatever it's possessing alive. There's actually a theory, and I almost agree with it, that there is a theory that once so here we got a sister location Michael so Michael Afton. So check this out. So this version of Michael I think only happens because he is filled with Ennard. I think once Ennard leaves his body, the remnant starts healing him back. I think he heals back to being almost a normal like I don't think he heals back to perfect, right? But I think he heals back enough that he just slightly looks kind of zombified, but he doesn't look as purple. I think he decays so much because all the metal inside of his body is continuously poisoning his flesh. But I think once that metal is out and it's no longer poisoning him, I think the remnant in his body slowly starts bringing his body back to life. No, I don't think he did. I think Michael didn't want to. Yeah, his heart is still beating in FNAF 6. Yeah, I think he gets literally brought back to life by the remnant. Right? But I think Michael escaped. No, I don't think he did. I think Michael 100% did not want to escape. It's said in the thing. It like Henry alludes to that. All of host. I don't know. He got his internals got scooped. That's why he has to be. But also, so here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. When you're a spirit, this is just kind of. I don't know if it's necessarily a cop out, but it makes sense also. You gotta remember that all of the animatronics make raspy breathing noises. All the ones that we know are possessed, right? Michael can die if his body is fully destroyed, right? I think, but his heart is beating in FNAF 6. William's heart, yeah, William has his internal organs, so William's heart could be beating. But here's also the thing: his body. It could be just that his body or his spirit self is making those noises because it's used to it, right? The possessed animatronics, they have raspy breathing noises and they do like all these other things and they have mucus and blood and stuff that shows up because that's like it's like a what do you call it? It's an automatic response. It's an automatic thing, right? They make those noises and they make the beating of the heart and everything because that's what it's a subconscious thing. Their body just they just do it because they've done it the entire time they were alive. So as spirits, they continue doing it. Yeah, remnant is almost impossible to destroy. But it's not the remnant that's the thing. It's the spirit. If there's nothing left for the spirit to attach to, then the spirit disconnects. It's the same thing like in what is it? FNAF 3 mini games. So in this mini game right here, so the reason that these spirits are here is because I don't think. What do you think happened to Michael after FNAF 6? I think he died. I think his spirit was released from his body, right? And his spirit continued to wander in the FNAF 6 location, the same as Elizabeth's, the same as Cassidy's, the same as the other spirits. I think their spirits, because of the remnant, because of the agony, because of what they've been through, they have to make the decision to be like let go, but I don't think they do. Anyways, but so here, right here, we have the spirits. We have the 4 spirits. We have, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, right? The kids that were in the suits. This scene happens after. Can I get the full thing? Can I get the full map? But this scene happens after. Where is it? FNAF 3 mini games map. Will that work? Yes, that will work. Boom. So in this, here I'll bring up the whole thing. Yeah. I'm over 18. Sure. Yes, I'm over 18. Just shut up. Oh my god. Okay, open the whole thing. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, it doesn't even have the okay, so the security room is up here. But if you look at this, all right, so all 4 animatronics get destroyed right here, right? They all 4 get destroyed right here by William Afton. So when he takes the so what it is he's taking the endoskeletons out of the suits, and he's melting down those endoskeletons for the remnant that is in them from the spirits possessing them, right? I think a remnant is like a leftover byproduct of a spirit possessing something, right? So the kids' souls come out of the animatronics because the endoskeletons get removed. They no longer have something to possess, so they become just the spirits, and that's why they're. Go back. Didn't work out very well. But that's why they're in that. Yeah, so there's the image right here. So yeah, so all 4 got removed, blah, blah, blah. And now they're just spirits. That's why they end up here, just kind of standing there. Will you open up this? What's happening here? Okay, there we go. Yeah, open up. There you go. That's why they're right here. Springtrap after FNAF 6. He turned into Burn Trap, and he doesn't show. He gets stuck down there. He gets stuck in the FNAF 6 location, just like the rest of them, until security breach when we release him, right? Yeah. So they show up. I think the reason. So this is the funny part. Like, I don't think William Afton was scared of these 4 kids. How do you think Springtrap will look like after FNAF? What will he look like after FNAF 3? We've already seen him. We saw him in FNAF 6. He was Burn Trap in FNAF 6. FNAF 6. What was it? He was Scrap Trap at that point. Scrap Trap. We know what he looks like. He looks like this. And a lot of people have problems with the way that he looked. So what it is I'm pretty sure those are Golden Freddy's feet. That's Golden Freddy's, part of Golden Freddy's face. He had to rebuild himself after being burnt, and I think he looks shorter, but I don't think he actually is shorter. I think people just imply that he's shorter because his limbs and everything don't look as lanky. He looks more boxy because he went and he stole whatever he could from a Golden Freddy suit. Or Toxic just ignore them, act like they're not there, right? Actually, Burn Trap is not the Mimic. Burn Trap is not the Mimic. The Mimic is the Mimic. Burn Trap, not the Mimic. We will settle that right now, guys. Just so everybody is clear. Burn Trap, not the Mimic. They are distinctly different characters. They are distinctly not the same. Okay? We just gotta settle that right off the rip. Not the same guy, right? Mimic, someone different than Burn Trap. Burn Trap is actually William Afton. He was not supposed to actually show up in Security Breach. This is factual information given to us by Scott Cawthon in the interview. Burntrap is not the Mimic, was never meant to be the Mimic, and was never meant to move in the game. Yeah, no, that's why he rebuilt him. That's why he went and found, after he was burnt in FNAF 3, after the fire, he went on to go find the Golden Freddy suit, and he used parts of the Golden Freddy suit to rebuild himself as much as he could. That's why he's called Scrap Trap, because he scrapped himself together just like Scrap Baby did. You can see Springtrap after the fire in sister location. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he rebuilds himself from Golden Freddy parts. And that is lore-wise, that's theorizing why, that's why a lot of people, they say that event, that specific event, him doing that, is why Sammy, or Vengeful Spirit, or the one you should not have killed, was able to put William into his own personal hell. What was the Mimic doing when Security Breach was taking place? The Mimic was still trapped behind that wall that you free him from in Ruin. He's still trapped behind there. He's just waiting. He's biding his time, basically, until someone can finally free him, right? He's not Burntrap. He's still just hidden back there, hiding. Where no one is supposed to go and get him. I don't know how he got back there. I have a feeling that it was Henry, that it was Henry's doing, and I think that because nothing happens in there, like nothing happens down there. Where did Molten Freddy find his face? Molten Freddy had his face the whole time. Molten Freddy, I think what happened was when they kicked out, because Ennard looks like this, right? Yeah. So I think what happens is when they kick out, I think they go back to the bunker once they remove themselves from Michael's body. I think they go back to the bunker. The Mimic is very old. The Mimic is from 1979 at the latest, or the earliest, 1979. So I think what they do is once they jump out of Michael, I think they have to go back to sister location and think of and think of a new tactic, right? FNAF 1 Chica in FNAF 6. We almost got FNAF 1 Chica in FNAF 6. Almost, yeah. But I think oh man. Hold on a second. Oh man. Friend that me and our other friend just boundaries. Hey, some people just don't understand, Cherry Blossom. All you can do is try to inform them, educate them, and if they don't want to be educated, you don't need them, right? People will let you know whether or not they're worth keeping. Can we go back to the video? Yeah, I think so. I think we're off on like weird tangents at this point. Okay. What is number 4?
William Afton were caught. This is a theory of my own and is best thought of in a TV series format. We follow the events of the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, but William is found out by both the people around him and the detectives. I see this going in any number of directions, but throughout the course of the show we see cracks in William's mind and watch as he becomes the infamous child serial killer. As for him being caught, he could be initially found out by Henry Emily, and we could see as Henry slowly pieces it together and pushes past his naivete and trust of his old friend. Eventually things could draw to a head as Henry confronts William in the closed pizzeria and William realises he has been caught and proceeds to tell Henry in detail about how he killed Charlotte, and eventually Henry attacks William, but the police barge in soon after and haul William away. We get scenes of William's interrogation, something similar to the scrap animatronic salvage in Pizza Sim, and as things near close, William escapes the police station, but it has already been made public that he is the man behind the slaughter, and the parents of the MCA victims and many more group together to find William and kill him for what he has done.
Right.
Something along the lines of Freddy Krueger being burned alive by the parents of his victims, or Michael Myers being tortured in the street in Halloween Kills. William could either die here, and Henry, Michael, and the phone guy, assuming he's still alive at this point, could set the souls free from the animatronics. And as Henry says,
"This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should."
Or William could escape injured from his encounter with the mob and return to the pizzeria, break down the animatronics, and get spring-trapped. And then we pick up with the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and continue through the timeline of the games. I love this theory, not just because it's my own, but because it could add a new layer to the lore and be very interesting. Also, if they ever did make a FNAF TV series, this is how I think they should go about it, although I'm sure there would be many other routes they could take if they ever did. Number 5. What if William were chased by the...
So William's never caught, in my timeline anyway, William is never caught, but he is found out, right? What if FNAF was just a bad dream? You mean dream theory? That is the thing that we're I'm on the dream theory fan. I'm in the dream theory camp where I believe FNAF 4 was supposed to end with dream theory. That everything was just made up in the mind of a child. It was bad dreams, blah blah blah. I'm in that camp. But obviously we got FNAF 5, we got FNAF 6, and dream theory has been removed. But I think it was originally supposed to be the concept until things changed, right? Until he realized audio prompt in 3, 2, 1. Anyways, yeah, I think that was supposed to be the theory, and then it changed once FNAF 5 and stuff came out. But no, in my timeline, William gets found out because after... This is why I put... And it's the reason why I put Sister Location... Well, not Sister Location itself, but this is why I put Circus Babies and FNAF 2 Location opening at the same time. Because I think Elizabeth getting scooped causes William emotional turmoil, and to cope with that emotion, he dons the yellow suit again and murders more children. The FNAF 2 incidents, right? And that one gets Henry out of jail because Henry got arrested. Because in my timeline, Henry gets arrested. Thank you, Dual Process, because they have the same theory. But Henry gets arrested for the murders because he was the most likely suspect. But then William using the suit again in FNAF 2 makes them realize, oh wait, never mind, it wasn't Henry. So Henry gets released because there's now proof that he didn't do it, which then leads them to being like, well, there's only one other person who could be the one who does it, William. William's the one who did it. So then William is obviously found out, and he goes on the run before they can get to him. He hides in his bunker because his bunker is a secret location that nobody can tell anybody about because they're under NDA with Fazbear Entertainment, not with William himself. So his bunker is his hiding place that no one goes to look for him in, or he has the secret entrance to the bunker and stuff. But here's the kicker, guys. Here's the thing. And the way everything looks, so here we go. Sister location map. So if we look at the sister location map, boom, right here, bring it up, open it up, boom. Sister location map, check this out. Here's our bunker, right? Here's the house, all that stuff connected, blah, 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 blah. Boom. There's a secret tunnel between the pizzeria where we're pretty sure the original MCI deaths happen, aka the FNAF 1 location. There is a secret tunnel between sister location, between the bunker and the FNAF 1 location. And where do you think Where do you think that tunnel leads, guys? Where do you think that tunnel would lead? Pretty sure it leads into the secret room in the FNAF 1 location. I'm pretty sure the secret tunnel would lead to the secret room. And that's how William was able to make it to the FNAF 1 location post FNAF 2 events. You know, because they close up the FNAF 2 location, and after a few months of investigations or whatnot, they're finally allowed to move the animatronics. They scrap the toy animatronics, and they move the withered animatronics back to the FNAF 1 location to refurbish and retry. I think that he hears about this. He's hiding out in a secret bunker. He uses the secret tunnel get into the FNAF 1 location so he can steal the endoskeletons to melt them down for remnants. And that's how he's able to do it. Remember when YouTube was glitching out? I actually don't. I don't know. It glitches out a lot. It acts dumb a lot. It'll drop my view count for no reason. It'll be like you only have 2 viewers when I have like 8 people talking in chat sometimes. So I don't know what you're talking about because it's always glitching out. It's always being dumb. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you guys are all subbed, I appreciate you. Analytics tells me that at least half the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. So if everybody was subscribed, I'd have 1,000 subscribers. I think it's the only logical conclusion I can get from that. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, guys, we're gonna shift gears for just a second. I want to do some self promotion. I am in the middle of writing a book. Yes, thank you. Anyways, I'm in the middle of writing a book. It has nothing to do with FNAF. I will preference that. It does not have anything to do with FNAF. But I am in the middle of writing a book. It is a sci-fi fantasy lit RPG, so literature role-playing game style. It is a first-person narrative. Blah blah blah. I think it's pretty. I mean, obviously, I think it's pretty good. I'm the one writing it. If you guys want to read it, the first 13 chapters are currently available for free on the Patreon. All you gotta do is follow the link in the description below and follow for free, and you can read the first 13 chapters of the book. There are 17 available. If you were to become a $1 or $5 patron, you can read those chapters too, but you don't have to. It's completely free for you to go check out the book. You can leave comments, tell me what you like, what you don't like. I may change or do different stuff. Open the stream or restart. That happens. That was because that was my side of things, though, Cherry Blossom. That was my computer being dumb. I have a new computer now. It's not dumb. So hopefully we won't deal with that for a while. Chica was scrapped, right? Mangle is possessed by a dog, and Chica is possessed by a girl. Chica is possessed by Susie. Mangle may or may not be possessed by a dog. Mangle could just be a robot. Being a robot. Just like the toy animatronics. The toy animatronics might be possessed by the DCI kids, by the dead children incident that happens in FNAF 2. Because my theory is that FNAF 2, the guard job that you do, actually takes place months after the actual recordings, like the audio recordings. I think because this is the thing. I think the audio recordings, the training tapes from Phone Guy, I think those are out of time, right? I don't think you can technically assume that they are actually made for you. I think what it is that somebody is in charge of training, right? Somebody's just in charge. It's that they're just tapes that were recorded, but the first recording sounds so generic that the people who hired you to do that guard job just gave you the tapes from like, these tapes will train you how to do your job, and now you're listening to them and they're talking to somebody else in their actually personalized tapes that the person who gave them to you doesn't realize that they're personalized. Was the name of the Chica that should have been in FNAF 6 Logbook Chica? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, and I think what hammers that in is watching the FNAF movie. He's given training tapes that are out of time, that were not made for him specifically. And I think that kind of represents what it is. The Bite of 87 was Fredbear's. No, the Bite of 87 is Mangle. In my opinion, the Bite of 87 is Mangle. You know, John, you're very needy. You're very needy. Logbook Chica. Logbook Chica. There you go. There you go. You want you thought this was a FNAF's Logbook Chica full body. That's a fan representation. Fan. So it's the so you're thinking this one was supposed to, so you're thinking that we were gonna have a scrap animatronic of this Chica. Okay. See, the problem with that is that Chica, Bonnie, and Freddy wouldn't have been in FNAF 6. They couldn't be in FNAF 6 because of the way that the story was already set up. The original MCI kids are in Molten Freddy. Are Molten Freddy. Right? Molten Freddy. Molten Freddy. Yeah. So Molten Freddy in your FNAF 6. So this is all four of the MCI kids. Right here. How the kids die? No. The withered animatronics are just what the original MCI kids are in. The art is official. That's cool. But yeah, no, Chica, Bonnie, and regular Freddy and Foxy wouldn't exist in FNAF 6. Like, it would be the way the story has gone in the games. This is the MCI kids. He's a troller. Yeah, true. John the troller is needy because he is a troller. That makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, so Molten Freddy is the MCI kids. So having a Chica would make no sense. It would confuse things more than anything else. Having a Chica, a Freddy, a Bonnie, or a Freddy that is possessed would make no sense at this point, right? But yeah. So the MCI kids are in Molten Freddy, Golden Freddy, and so that's the thing too, where Scrap Trap makes sense, right? Because Scrap Trap makes sense. That this is both Spring Bonnie, aka William Afton, and also Golden Freddy / Vengeful Spirit / Sammy. Because of that specific thing, he took parts from Golden Freddy and attached it to himself to repair himself, and that seals the deal on FNAF 6. So if we go to FNAF 6, FNAF 6, salvage animatronics. So we check out the okay, so here we go. We got the salvage animatronics. So this is how we do it, right? So Molten Freddy is the 4 MCI kids. Alright, so there's your 4 MCI. So this is Susie, Fritz, Jeremy, and Gabriel. There's the 4 original. There's the 4, right? Scrap Trap over here brings us William Afton and also Sammy, aka Vengeful Spirit, right? Those are the other 2 that we're missing. So then the only 2 spirits that we're missing once these 2 show up is Scrap Baby, which brings us Elizabeth, and then Lefty, who brings us the puppet, aka Charlie, and that brings us all of the spirits of all of the dead children. Right? Here's a funny thing, and I don't think it's a retcon. I think it's just an actual fuckery. Where is the DCI kids? How do you think the kids have been killed? I think he strangles them to death or like snaps their neck. I think he just he kills them with force in some way that isn't messy. I don't think he makes them bleed. I don't think he breaks. I think he breaks them. I don't think he like cuts or slits or slices or rips or tears or anything like that. I think literally he kills them in the cleanest way. And when I say cleanest way, I mean like physically the cleanest way possible. And then hides them in the suit until he can dispose of the bodies. I think that's what he does. But yeah, so here's the weird so here's my question to everybody, and I might make this a short too, because I want this in the comments. Let's make this a short. Let's make this a short, and let's go to my patent pending. Not patent pending. This is 100%. You guys can just blame. You guys can blame Thor for this, because it is funny in my opinion, to do this. But no, hold on. Let's go there. Here's my question, guys. No, no. So it is. If you use the book, if you use all the information given to us from the books and the games, Molten Freddy, right? Molten Freddy is the DCI kids. He's the MCI kids. He's the MCI, because what it is William Afton in. Hold on. We still got him up over here, right? So William Afton right here. Here's the MCI kids right here, these four right here. He literally disassembles their suits. He disassembles the withered animatronics. He disassembles them, removes their endoskeletons, melts them down, and puts that remnant into the Funtime animatronics. What I think happens is they band together, and William gets killed. They follow where he took the remnant, where he took the endoskeletons. They follow, and they possess the animatronics down there. That's what it is. I think the MCI kids are in Molten Freddy. What do you think William's wife did after she broke up with him? Got as far fucking away as possible. All right, I'm gonna head out. Bye. All right, man. 111 minute. So an hour and 40 minutes is the timestamp. If you want to catch the rest of the stream tomorrow, which there isn't gonna be much left. I think I'm gonna be done in like 20 minutes or so, 10 minutes or so. About a 2-hour stream, or a little bit more than a 2-hour stream, possibly tonight. But yeah. Stay safe, you too, Cherry Blossom. I'll see you probably, I stream tomorrow, so probably tomorrow night. We'll be on at about 12:30 to 2:30/3 o'clock, like normal. So, yeah. Gonna do a little bit of that. Yeah, no, I think they, the Molten Freddy is those, Molten Freddy is the MCI kid. So please finish the video. Honestly, I don't know if I even want to. Especially when someone keeps asking. I'm just saying. Now they are. I'm just saying that they could have been it could be both. He could be all of them.
Getting spring locked on the FNAF 1 location
what if
wasn't
William were
shut
chased
down.
by the animatronics
This theory would go under the
assumption
assumption that the FNAF 1 location
never
never shut down. That Fazbear Entertainment managed to keep the business afloat with good PR, and eventually the business gained traction again, and William returns to break down the animatronics, but gets chased by them instead of the souls that lie within. He gets spring-trapped, and Fazbear Entertainment has the room sealed off without paying too much attention to the old rotting animatronic laying slouched over in the corner. Imagine how things would continue. The animatronics would stay possessed, and the children's souls within would stay there for many more years, with the animatronics still roaming the halls at night. And as the lyrics to the Living Tombstones FNAF song go...
When do you think FNAF will end? Don't know what the hell's happening right now. When will it end? I don't think... I think it'll end when
Number 6.
fandom dies.
Fredbear kept biting. This theory refers to the bite of 83. We see the bite happen in the minigame, but after the bite happens, everything goes silent, similar to getting jump scared in the games. We get static, then the game over screen. But if we were actually being attacked by the animatronics, we would experience every second of it, past the initial scare. So in turn, getting bit by Fredbear, the crying child experienced every second of it. Fredbear was still operating when he bit Cece, so that would mean he's still moving and still biting Cece repeatedly until someone was able to shut him down. This makes the Bite of 83 that much more terrifying, and this one I can take on as headcanon,
Right.
as there isn't really anything to disprove this. Number 7. The Shadow animatronics are all the same entity. Imagine the Shadow animatronics were all one entity. Be it death, a demon, or we could call it a physical manifestation of William Afton's evil.
None of those.
Whatever the case, this would mean that Shadow Freddy, Shadow Bonnie, Nightmare, Nightmare On, and Eleanor are all the same evil entity. And with the Shadow animatronics being the most mysterious entities in the game, this makes this series that much more horrifying. Also, the thought that the entity could be deaf works well in my opinion, as the series is full of deaf. And if we take a look at the Follow Me minigame, Shadow Freddy has the animatronics follow him, and after they are dismantled, the souls of William's victims get a front row seat to his death. Number 8. Andrew Pizza. This theory
So my theory on the Shadow animatronics is that they are the spirits of the employees who died in the Springlock suits. And the reason that Shadow Freddy lures you to the back, lures all the animatronics to the back to help William disassemble them, and the reason that Shadow Bonnie looks over the security guard or whatnot and all that stuff is that they died as employees. They died as people that were supposed to take orders from William Afton, so that's what they just continue doing in their afterlife, in their death. They take orders from William Afton. They are his employees still. So that's why they do his bidding, because that's all they remember. Song by The Living Tombstone is actually canon to the games. It is not. It is not. There is no songs that are canon to the games. Period. None. None of them were made by Scott Cawthon. None of them were made under the direction of Scott Cawthon. None of them can be considered actual continuity to the games. They can be referencing canon events from the games, but they themselves cannot be continuity. Nightmare BB is canon. That is 100% because Scott himself said so.
Follows the idea that Andrew witnessed William commit the MCA murders, and thus he kills Andrew. But with no animatronics left to hide the body, he drags his lifeless body to the kitchen and chops it into small pieces and makes pizzas with him. And once he is finished, he eats one of the pizzas and Andrew becomes a part of William's soul. His soul is forced to follow William around. This also means that customers at Freddy's were fed a child's body without knowing it. This one is just beyond disturbing. The very thought of a human being eaten by other humans is downright twisted, but unfortunately it does happen. Also, the thought that William separated one of his victims' bodies into small pieces and not only ate him but fed him to the customers is absolute nightmare fuel. And while the theory is a joke theory and it definitely isn't canon, it is still unnerving to think about. Now, all these theories were found.
Why does everyone show Fredbear mouth covered
online, many of which I couldn't find the original source. So if you know them, please give credit to them in the comments below.
Because his mouth would have been covered in blood?
I want to stress I am not claiming any of this to be canon or possibly canon. I'm simply stating these aren't bad theories.
Okay.
And many of them are.
Alright, that's the end of the video. He's just talking about the end of it. So there's all your theories. No, none of those theories work. I don't know if it's just he was reading dark theories that are old and have obviously been debunked by other things that have happened in the games. Or if he just that's probably the case, as he probably just wanted to find the darkest theories and he didn't care to do the background research to see if they were still even capable of being likely, which makes sense. I mean, obviously, if you're just making a video like this, that's what you do. You know. But yeah, no. Final thoughts for that is none of those theories really can be canon anymore because of what goes on. But yeah, no, so here's the thing, John, is that Scott has never made any announcement. He's never made any statements or anything else, indicating that any music made about his games could have lore in them. So because of that, and because he has talked about books, he has talked about movies, obviously games, you can't use any songs made about the games as lore references. Plain and simple. It's not it doesn't work. If you say that and you make that a thing, then it makes theorizing that much more difficult, because now we're supposed to rummage through and decide what songs are considered canon. We already have enough issues going with the short stories and stuff like that. So to make theorizing even possible, no songs, period, no songs are lore giving. Yeah, I'll do it that way. They're not lore giving. They can have lore, they can reference lore, and lore can be discussed by the songs, but you're not going to get any new information from a song. Songs are not going to be continuity. The Mimic found 3 fursuits in ruin. He had those fursuits. Those fursuits come from Fall Fest. They are referenced in one of the Pizzaplex books, which they themselves may not be full continuity, but a lot of things that happen in them can be mirror events that also happen in the game continuity, in my mind. So we read about those suits, those specific types of, not those specific suits, but suits similar to them or particularly like them in at least one of the Tales of the Pizzaplex stories. So yeah. Pretty sure William is a furry. I don't think William's a furry. I think he's a psychopath that uses a specific suit to both hurt Henry and to disguise his identity to be able to commit his horrific murders. Aren't furries. Yeah, the FNAF animatronics aren't furries. Yeah, they're not furries. I don't think William's a furry. I think he just he used a specific item that he had available to him to hide his identity while murdering children, right? But I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Right? Wrap it up. Just get we're at the 2-hour mark. I wanna try and keep all of my live streams in the 2-hour range, just to make them just to make it easier for to not take up super a lot of your guys' time all the time, but also just to make them more easily to like watch and stuff too for people later on. Sad that the Mimic's mushroom. I'm sad that the Mimic's mushroom costume it could exist. Hey, Tales of the Mimic or Secrets of the Mimic, all those suits could exist. But thank you guys so much for watching. Always appreciate it. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys have not yet hit the subscribe button, make sure you do. That way you guys will hit the bell, get the notifications turned on, hit the like button, share this with your friends. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 519 right now, guys. This is the most we've ever had. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Make sure you guys go back, watch some of the old streams if you guys haven't yet, or even some of the old videos. Hey, I've played a bunch of other games. There's an entire run of BioShock on my, I don't know if you guys like BioShock, but there's a whole run of BioShock on my channel that you guys can go check out. I'm pretty good at that game. Whole run of me doing a bunch of other stuff too, but I love your faces. I appreciate you guys hanging out and all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video, in the next stream